bit, I'm going to show you one of my sons who rides a motorcycle. He has a 5-year-old Mazda Miata. It's a manual, 6-speed manual. It's a blast to drive, and you have all the sportability that you have with a Porsche. Obviously, this car you've got a lot more refinement, a lot more performance. But you know, new, this kind of car, depending on how you option it out, it goes from $70,000 to $90,000. You can get a used Boxster in the 10 to 15 year range, you know, for considerably less money. Porsches tend to drop in value quite a bit until they hit a certain age, and a lot of them become sought after by collectors for various reasons. That runs the prices back up. You know, a lot of people that get Porsches keep them in their garage way too much. I don't. I mean, this is in essence a daily driver. You know, I split my driving among work vehicles, my motorcycles. I mean, even with all that, I still put 5,000 miles a year on this car, and it's a blast. Now, there's a couple things if you really want more motorcycle type performance in a sports car that you might want to keep in mind. I mean, the reason I got this car is I always loved Porsches. I made myself a promise as a young person, a poor young person, that if I was ever in a position to be able to buy a Porsche of any sort, I would do it. And I was fortunate that I was later in life able to do that. I know a business owner has a successful business. This guy has probably tens of millions of dollars in the bank, and he won't indulge in a nice sports car. And he's a driving enthusiast. And the reason he won't indulge himself and buy a nice sports car is because he's afraid of generating resentment among his customers and employees. I mean, I get it, but the guy is truly a motor enthusiast. You know, he'll spend money going on these go-kart races, these high-end go-karts and things like that, but he won't own anything more exciting than a Chrysler minivan. You know, so for me, you know, it's not about being flashy or anything like that. Oftentimes I find I get unwanted attention in this car. So, as an example, in my area, there's a lot of people that drive performance vehicles, particularly American muscle cars. And a lot of times I'll be stopped at a light right next to somebody driving a newer Camaro or a Mustang GT in particular. And I can always sense it. As soon as the light turns green, they're just going to haul and try and leave me in the dust. Even though this car in actuality is faster than those cars. I mean, this car is as fast as a Hellcat. And with this transmission and the way the weight distribution is, this thing will just go. So what I do instead is I actually go slower than I normally would, and these guys go racing off. It makes them look like complete idiots. To me, it's just so amusing. I mean, I know this car is as fast, if not faster, than those cars. I have that knowledge, but I try to have the wisdom to not try and prove it at whatever stoplight I have to be at. Coming back to the whole idea of a sports car, particularly a convertible, is a great alternative to a motorcycle. If it's not convenient to ride a bike, or you're just health-wise not quite up to it. You know, a lot of the Porsche purists derided the twin turbo in lieu of the naturally aspirated 6-cylinder engine. I had a 2015 6-cylinder naturally aspirated Boxster, and this car blows it away. This car is so much more fun to drive. Got a button here. Of course, the other car had it. You can push a button. Puts it in sport mode. One of the things it does is it opens the baffle so you get a louder exhaust note. I think that would be a great option for a motorcycle. I don't think I've ever seen that or heard about it. If any of you have heard about that, please let me know in the comments section, where you could basically push a button and in the evening, so I guess this is part 3 of vehicle versus deer. Keep missing them, knock on wood. Anyway, I should have followed my own advice in that video. If you see one, you're usually going to see a second one. It's busy talking here. I never realized